Did you know that Modern Witches has a Patreon community? There, you can join us at 2 tiers of paying membership and access our monthly coven circles, which are live online gatherings where we discuss our witchcraft and practice magic together and tune into what it means to be a modern witch at this deeply important planetary moment. We're so excited to be dropping a new Patreon exclusive, which are our mini magic episodes. These will feature practical magic, folklore, history of the craft, as well as ways to deepen your engagement and awareness of witchcraft in this precarious time. We hope to see you there, and if you aren't subscribing to the podcast, please do so now. Your comments, your reviews, they all mean so much to us. Find links to join our Patreon community in the show notes. Blessed be. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Modern Witches podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to our zodiacal magical forecast episodes. We are here to talk about Gemini season today. I am one of your hosts, Casey Zabala, and I am here with the most magical co-hosts, Karima and Mariana. Thanks for joining me.
Hi guys. Hi
Thank
Casey. Hi
hey,
Karima.
hey guys, thank you, Casey, for this beautiful introduction. Yeah,
You
thank
know,
you.
I'm feeling Gemini.
Yeah.
I'm,
Flirty.
yeah, I'm feeling flirty today as we
I
dip our
like
toes
that.
into Gemini.
Yep.
Uh, So, how are we feeling about kind of the lead up to Gemini season? And here we are with Gemini, sun moving in.
Hmm.
I feel
Oh,
really good about it.
Okay, great.
I love Gem. I have like a lot of Gem placements in Gemini, and I'm very familiar with that energy. And also this particular Taurus season, the fixed season that when we record this, we have a lot of like difficult fixed planets kind of like holding and changing the vibe and the energy of many years of fixed signs I had, and Taurus season is one of them, the first one. So having like Mars in Leo for most of Taurus is having Uranus still in Taurus, having Pluto in Aquarius. We have this real like fixed tension that is present through any like fast trend, like even like the moon going through all the fixed signs. So I'm looking forward to Gemini season because it feels like we can kind of like release some of the energy, get a little bit more flexible, get a little bit more movable, get it like yeah, it's when like I feel right now we're like planting seeds that are very hard to plant, that are not taking root very quickly in Taurus season, and Gemini is when suddenly we'll have this spaciousness to kind of like pivot.
Mm.
hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel also, yeah, I think everything have been like very stagnant, like Mariana said, because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of happening in fixed sign. And the beginning of Taurus season is not easy. It's a lot of squares. It's challenging. There's the Mars opposition to the last Mars opposition Pluto that we have this past like 4, 5, 6 months. The sequences that we had,
Mm.
and so it is challenging. And I feel like Gemini, especially this season, I really like what is happening this season. We're going to talk about it. It's Saturn going into Aries. There is Jupiter going into Cancer. And after those past months having Mars in Cancer, this is just a very nice uplift of the Cancer energy. And we need it. We need more nurturing. We need more comfort. We need like more emotional security with everything that is happening. And I feel like Jupiter is helping us with this, right? Right. And I feel like things gonna move. Gemini is the air sign. It wants movement. It wants movement of ideas. It wants movement of ideology. People like there is movement that I think is gonna happen in that season. That like we didn't think would happen, and everything was stuck. And I feel now is like Gemini season starting. Is it's moving. Gemini season is so important Why? Because it's kind of the last. Also, we talked last time about the last time that Uranus is in Taurus. Now is the last time that we kind of have a Virgin Gemini, without Uranus in it, because then this summer, basically Uranus move in Gemini, and so that will change totally the tone of Gemini, and the next 7, 8 years, when the sun's gonna go into Gemini, there's gonna be another flavor. So this one I feel like is the light Gemini and the more fun, and we're gonna move around and feel less restrictive, and things gonna probably start to grow, and we're gonna see results. That's what I'm feeling, but maybe a little bit more optimistic about the future. It might didn't last for a long time, but I feel this season might be a little like hope. Maybe there's
Mm-hmm.
some organizing, maybe there's some activism. Gemini helped a lot with this. And so maybe there's some hope down the line that things are moving. There's a force against what is happening. And I think that's what we need.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Gemini sort of breathes life into the sails of the resistance rather
Mm-hmm.
than escalating the timelines of the oppressors in this instance. That's my
Mm-hmm.
hope.
I think we're going to have both. I
Yeah,
do
Yeah,
think we're going to have
exactly my
both.
probably.
like what I was thinking. We're gonna have both.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's like they're going to take that air, both
They're
of
gonna
them.
use
Yeah.
that air with the
Isn't
resources
Trump a
that they have.
Gemini?
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he
That's the
is a
season.
Gemini.
yeah. So
And
something
it's
to,
his, sorry, and
yeah,
Sun in Gemini, his ruling planet.
okay, yeah. So something to be conscious of, when we think about astrology and how it's going to affect ourselves personally and the collective. It's, there are all these dimensions of how this energy can either support us or challenge us. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. So let's dive in. Let's look into the chart of the sun
100%.
ingress. Let me pull up my screen here.
Yeah, and as we pull that up, we have so many transits. I think we've mentioned this already, finishing up their journey. Uranus finishing up, Jupiter finishing up. And when the planets finish their transits, like their slow moving planets, it's that last stretch that packs a punch the most. So Gemini season packs the punch, not just through the Gemini energetics, Jupiter and Gemini, yes, but Uranus and Taurus energetics, value energetics, money energetics, stability energy, all that. It's gonna kind of like that last month is really gonna, unlike last, like Uranus will have a little bit longer, but like this last stretch starts in Gemini season. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm looking forward to it, honestly.
Yes. I mean, we have Saturn moving into Aries this
I
season.
I don't look forward to that.
Me neither. But just taking a look at like this chart here of the sun moving into Gemini, we can see we have Saturn at 29 degrees of Pisces. We have Uranus at 27 degrees of Taurus and Jupiter here at 25 degrees of Gemini. And so a lot of these, some of the outer planets and Jupiter, these larger energetic beings, sort of at the precipice of moving signs. Like Mariana said, it's impactful, and their energy is very much highlighted when they're at these final few degrees, especially the 29th degree of any sign.
100%. All right. So what I've been doing recently, when I look at the ingression for specifically United States, which is can seem a little bit isolated, but still, I'm putting for the location Washington, D.C., that it's a capital,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at the ascendant, which gives, I'm sorry for my voice, it's still recovering. But yeah, it is, and we have Virgo ascendant for the Washington, D.C. for Gemini ingress, which is workers and health and all that stuff that this Gemini season is going to be probably very pronounced. Yeah, and it's very interesting, a very interesting chart. Um,
I
we
was
have
trying to
moon.
pull up.
Yeah, it will be 3:03 p.m. Washington D.C. I don't
There
know.
we go.
It's for whenever you look at the countries chart, any countries, you put the timing for Washington D.C.
Mm-hmm.
or not in the case of United States, obviously. And we have moon in Pisces. Oh boy.
Angola. Sorry.
A lot of emotion. It's gonna be a water of emotions going
People,
towards us. People, yeah,
people are like
feeling it.
feeling it. This like, and that's, yeah, and it's just so much. It's so much.
I think there's what I like when I see the moon in Pisces that I that forces to waken with, or wake up to, or fight for the collective inconscience and all the notion. Like Pisces really embody the collective inconscience and the different image mythology that we all have in common. All our archetype that are like are linked to our conscious, but are also our community and people. We all have kind of a history link to all of us. And so with a moon in Pisces, that's kind of waking up the collective inconscience and like this feeling that's we are like maybe in pain altogether, no matter where you're from or where you stand politically. But there is a wound that is like that create emotion and that is like everything I think during that season is going to be highly emotional. What's even if we are in Gemini and is the air is like we are quick thinker, we're moving fast, it's deeply rooted in emotion. So we're going to see a lot of reaction, I think, emotionally to maybe news, to maybe what is happening is going to be a call. Like I see humanity basically when I see a moon in Pisces like this. I see going back to the human, you know.
Mm.
Um, and so I won't be surprised if I see like a lot of people getting too overwhelmed or very highly emotional or breaking down on TV or anywhere publicly with what is going on, you know? More and
Mhm.
more, that is like going to be a collective suffering. I see basically the collective, like all together.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
also, the moon squares the sun. So people and the leader are at odds with each other here. They don't
Mm-hmm.
see eye to eye. And the way how they don't see eye to eye, like Karima, you said, moon in Pisces, there is a plea, there is a call for humanness, for compassion, for consideration, something beyond the trade, the
Yeah.
exchange, the merchant mentality, which is Sun in Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
It is how can we make deals? It's deal maker. And Moon in Pisces is not a deal maker. It's like, can we call to a higher aspects of our existence here? Can we like see beyond this purely transactional approach to life?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So spot on. I just want to mention too, as we're talking about this and looking at this season, the two planets that are in Earth signs in this moment. You know, we have Uranus and Mercury in Taurus. And those are two planets that like are electricity to me. And
Mhm.
so I do think that throughout Gemini season, it's going to be really important to find ways to lean into grounding practices. I think that's good every Gemini season, but there's not much stabilizing here. Um, so whatever you can do to reconnect with the earth, reconnect with your body, And also really make grounded choices around who you're making connections with. I think the better. That's something to strive for. That might be a little bit harder to actualize, but I do think it's going to help us, push the needle forward in ways that are sustainable, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. It's yeah, electricity, it's very destabilizing for our nervous system, you know. So, and with Uranus going into Gemini, just preemptively,
Mm-hmm.
oh, like I've been telling all the clients, I'm like, you have to start now. You had to start yesterday. All of us with like holy basils and lemon bombs and like
Milk
walks
fields.
and any all of that, just so important. Like I've just like 2 days ago, I've forced myself to start going to the gym. I'm like, I'm gonna go because I know it's not easy now. And energetically, it's not like it's going to be more difficult. It's going to be more hectic and erratic as we go forward.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do want to do something good for yourself, do start doing it during this Taurus season where the earth is a bit more like it's going to hold you.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I would say take this as like a gentle nudge to just like stretch while you're watching TV.
Yeah.
Or like when you wake up in the morning, if you can go outside and take a short walk around the block before you go about your day, or, go into work mode, go into parenting mode, whatever it might be, try to just do like a tiny thing. And that tiny thing grows into bigger things.
That's very Taurus of you, Casey.
Thank you.
I think.
That's what works for me as a Taurus rising. Okay.
Yeah.
That's true.
Got to be gentle with ourselves.
And
Mm.
just to go back to what also you said, it's also great because right now with, like you said, too much electricity is not good. We have the sun in Gemini. Mercury belongs to Gemini and is in Taurus. So it's still the love, I feel like. This air and it can create stress. We can feel stressed. We can feel anxiety. And when we have those, usually there's a high level of cortisol in our body. And like Mariana mentioned, lemon balm, Milky Twistle needle are very nourishing, and lemon balm is very nervine, so it's calming the nervous system. So that those are great. And also, like you mentioned, exercise, like you sweat, get off the cortisol because usually when you're too much cortisol, this means you have to get it out. And so there's some doctors said there's 3 ways to get it out: sport, sweat. So walking around the block, like walking is a great way. Like running, just doing some jumping jack, like whatever it is that you like to do, sweat it out. And also writing, everything that can come out of you, it's gonna be great to get out the cortisol. Same therapy, talking is everything that take out the stress out. Even if you think it doesn't work, it works really well. Especially talking, writing, sport, sport because it's very about the sweat, but even talking. There's so many experience that show talking to a therapist, writing on the journal, why it's so popular because it's taking out the cortisol out of your body, basically. So those are great tools, especially during that time. Especially during that time.
Well, yeah, let's jump into the first transit because I feel like we're talking into it and giving all these amazing tips for how to navigate this. But,
Mm-hmm.
on the 24th, we actually have Mercury in Taurus conjunct Uranus in Taurus. Um, and so this is this like electricity we've been talking about, connecting here in the sign of Taurus, at 27 degrees. So just as Taurus is finishing up its work here in this sign.
Mm-hmm.
This is electricity on electricity.
Oh boy.
Yes. Oh boy. And we just came out of a Sun Uranus conjunction, a full moon where the Sun and Uranus were very close. So we understand that energy, we understand that note, especially because it has been happening the past couple of weeks. So it, we understand that now that Mercury is touching it, is like we're making sense of it. Yes, because Mercury is our mental, is our mind, is how we communicate, how we exchange with people. But of course, the Uranus come and change I will say the way that is communicating. We have definitely something that is like changing the tone that we're communicating is about like if you find yourself being very attracted about talking about liberation, freedom, revolution, yes, those are a very topic that is linked to Uranus. And so when your mind joined the Uranus, of course, this topic is going to be more in front of you. Yes, but it's also in a personal level make you is a chance, and I'm talking about very the bright side of this conjunction is a chance to think very differently. They could be around your finances, it can be around your home. It's like if you had a hard time to resolve the issue around that can be helpful because Uranus is taking a different way. Uranus is not linear and it will help you because it wants at the end break you free from something. So I like those type of conjunction. He helped me to get out of my comfort zone. He helped me to get out of the way that I'm thinking all the time. And yes, I think on the bright side, this is something that helps us at the end to break free or to find a way to get out of a situation. Maybe like when I think about friends talking, I don't know, but it is a great conjunction. I can feel like we can say things that are kind of bold, but maybe necessary to move forward, you know? So, yeah.
You're making me think of like the people who are in my life, in like my circle, who aren't politically activated at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And like personally, like the outrage I feel in the moment. And like, what if there is a way to revolutionize people in your space? Because I think about this 3.5% rule. I think it was Erica Chenoweth, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing their name wrong, but they kind of studied this, that 3.5% of the population, if they engage in nonviolent protest against a government or leadership, it generally succeeds. And so I think about the percentage of people in my circle who have not sort of boycotted or shown up or gotten activated in some way. And what if we can change their minds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe there is an opportunity to have difficult conversations that are spicy conversations, but maybe they need to be spicy conversations had, you know?
Yeah. I feel like this particular configuration with Uranus and Mercury, which is, like you said, Casey, is very much hijacking the mental space, hijacking the mindset or mental wiring or value system. It's Venus ruled conjunction. Venus is in Aries. So it is about personal agency within which whatever this hijacking is happening. It is about what is the personal agency? What is the choice to apply one's force towards to? Where are you applying your personal vital force in this occasion? I think another thing that can happen with this is that we can really, sorry if you can hear the baby. Can you hear the baby? No, good.
No, it's okay.
Because I can hear the
So
baby
cute.
so well.
Oh, so cute.
So sorry, going back to Mars and Venus and Aries. So the thing is here, there might be an opportunity, especially with Uranus leaving Taurus and Mercury, like having this conjunction with Uranus, having like conversations about your sense, your identity, and the direction you want to take, that is also hijacking some narrative or path you've been on for a while. So something here is about really, like, through conversation, maybe uncomfortable conversation, it's in Taurus, where it's been hard to pivot, hard to shift for a very long time. Something here really steers the ship into a different direction. The direction that is Venus in Aries, that is aligned with what you see yourself doing, applying yourself to, and so on and so forth. So it's a good, I like this whole thing.
I love that. Liberation
Liberation.
from whatever is keeping you in a
Mm-hmm.
pattern that is not supporting of your freedom and of other people's freedom too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the same day, on May 24th, Saturn enters Aries.
Uh-oh.
So it's like a bang, it's a bang of a moment of an ingress.
Yeah. I know there's so much. I mean, there's so much that you can say about Saturn in Aries, and we're going to have a special episode about Saturn in Aries. I'm very excited about that. But it is I just feel there's some good things, I think, and then some very like shadow thing also. It's like Saturn in Pisces is exalted, so it's very happy. It's not that exalted in Aries. And so Saturn, I mean, like for the um, the history of the warrior, for building up your strengths into like fighting or standing up for yourself or starting this thing you always wanted to start and putting structure around it and boundaries and longevity. I think I love that transit for that. I think it pushed us to structure around the spark that we have in our hearts, but it can be challenging in terms of like keeping the passion alive, because Saturn can be very strict and it's not funny. Aries is like excited about the new thing. It's like a Labrador,
It's not
it's like a
funny.
dog. You know what I mean? And he's like, Aries is like, oh, this new thing, great, I'm gonna start this, but also there's this new thing right there, it's pretty fun and I really want to start it, like, you know, that is like that type of like energy that is like firing up everywhere, that pique his interest, and it's great. We love that energy, we need that kind of big energy. Saturn will pick up on that and try to make it happen, but in the long run, it might like the spark might like faint, and Saturn is like, no, 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 you start that thing, you're gonna finish that thing. So it is a bummer in your excitement, but it's also very good because we know consistency is key, you know? So that they can be like a little bit butthead to each other, but I think at the end is something that we obviously need, especially with in a time when attention is like our attention is called every 30 seconds and we switch our brain every second to a new thing. I think Saturn is teaching her to stay focused on what we decided to do. Love that. And in terms of warrior and fighting and being brave and courageous, yeah, yeah, all of that, yes, you know, that's my take on it. But I'm a Sagittarius. I always take the bright side of everything. You know,
Someone's got
Mm,
to.
someone's got
yeah.
it too.
I feel okay. So this hits. I'm not honestly scared of this because I do have a very, I think I'm very close to understanding what's going to be happening with
Mm-hmm.
this for me personally,
Mm-hmm.
because it started happening with Neptune, uh, for all of us. Neptune has been through 0 degrees of Aries, something there, some um, thriving for an ideal way of showing up, or the way you're showing up, or having this kind of nudge. I need to show up in a more perfected way, as a in this world, in this reality, perfected in as in purposeful. So that is that. I I have It's so funny, like Karima, what you said, like you have to finish. And I'm like, I've started something, which I'm like, when that Saturn hits that point, it's gonna become really heavy. And I know that because it's already
You know it.
heavy. It's already heavy. Not bad, but I'm like, this is gonna be something that we cannot abandon as we go forward. This is, and it has to do with ego and whether your ego can handle this consciously or not, whether you can thrive for higher like manifestation of this Aries archetype, which is not about a my way or a highway or like deluding yourself, or it is a sticking with the ideal that Neptune put there, and not. And another thing that can happen here, sorry, is that you can start like doubting the capacity or the dream that you might have here with Saturn. The fear can start. It's not even that you can't, or like, oh, I'm not interested. It can be one of the things, I'm not interested in this anymore. It doesn't seem that fun. Or it's like, or I'm afraid, what if that happens? Can I carry this responsibility going forward? That is the big
Mm,
one as well.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
interesting to note that, Saturn is kind of like riding in the wake of Neptune through this
Mm-hmm.
into Aries. But they won't be conjunct until next year.
Yeah.
So, um,
And when you think about it, that's kind of because we have Neptune going into Aries, and then they will, like you said, Casey, will very conjunct perfectly like next year, but it's still like those Saturn and Neptune in Aries, those are linked to a lot of protests, to a lot of organization that lead to protests and fight against like sustainable economy, environmental and social issue. It's
Mm-hmm.
so we have that fire, and I think it is great when we talk about the collective. Like back, I think it was 1996 to 1999. That was like Saturn in Aries, and at that time, and like we had individual empowerment. Sorry, especially among like young people. Like one of the biggest cultural changes was the rise of the internet, just not as a technology, but as a space of self-expression. We had like creating of website, joining online forum, like even building like digital persona. Like it was very Saturn in Aries, like the creation of an identity, of a new structure. And that was the DIY culture, that puppet. Like if the system doesn't give me space, I will make my own. That was kind of this vibe at the time. So it was just a great energy with Saturn in Aries. But in terms of major protest movement, that was like the WTO in Seattle, which was huge, like including workers' rights, like I said, sustainable economy, social rights. And it was in 1999, and thousands of people took the street, and it was very big, and people was very expressing their value, what they think was to be fair for workers. So I hope to see that again, especially when Neptune joined the party.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting to think about this moving from the archetype of Pisces, which I think in its negative manifestation can be like the victim or the martyr,
Yeah.
moving into Aries, which is this warrior energy, this autonomous being with agency, that takes up space, like you mentioned. Um,
Mm,
so I do think, and I'm hoping that we'll see a shift in the way that people feel like they can relate to the struggles we're facing and the work of activism and resistance, and feel like there's more space to make an impact.
Yeah. I want to add something to this. A couple things. First, there's a generation of Saturn Neptune conjunct kids. I have that conjunction exactly. I think
ooh,
Mine's
ooh.
close.
yeah.
That makes
So
sense. All made sense now.
Casey might have that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like from 1989, 88 to 19,
1999, I
90.
1992,
think.
1992 or 3
Yeah,
probably.
2 or 3, I think.
Yeah, so it's just like those 5 years, and when you have that conjunction natally, and then when it comes back and happens, you're like you. It's almost like you do not have an option, but like to navigate this avoidance, Neptunian avoidance in Saturn, like it has been in Saturn in
Mm.
whatever matters, like agency in this case, and Saturn organize and put yourself um, in some kind of parameters where you can apply yourself correctly in this world. It's so important, and yeah, it's it's incredible how. And another thing that I wanted to mention is activism can show up in a very funny ways. You know, like when we hear word activism, we think going on the streets, which is important, or like right. But there are ways you need to tap into your way and see it Saturnian way, long term. What can whatever you do in a long run shift the dynamics in the collective and power establishment? Think
I'd
long
love,
term.
sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm done.
You made me think of an example. All the people, all the musicians at Coachella that are showing up on stage with Palestinian
Exactly.
flags.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
like the real, like, large scale collective awakening of this is of the utmost important right now.
Yeah.
And art, Neptune in Aries, like your expression, your self-expression, reflecting the collective
Oh.
needs,
Mhm.
using your art as a revolutionary act is deeply important.
Because Mars is in Leo as Saturn enters. It is through self expression and tapping into what you have to, because, like, as I said, protest, but like, what is it, 3.5%, 3.5%? You said, or
Hmm.
three? It is a big part, but you have to read. You can. I'm a believer that most people, if not all, can gain some personal traction in this life, that they can have an influence on someone or a group or a larger collective through their creative pursuits. So do that. Find something where you can spread your agency and have a sphere of influence through self-expression, where it's not like martyrdom, where I'm like, I'm gonna put myself and my life on this and become like a lamb that is just slaughtered as the change of the tides happening, but have agency in tapping into your creative pursuits or whatever, through which you can really garnish some influence.
Hmm.
That is very important. That's how, like, you can sort of enlist more people.
Hmm.
And be smart about
Absolutely.
it. Be smart. Think long term. That's what I've kind of arrived in the as recently. I'm like, you have to think long term, and you have to think how in like 10 years what you start now can like shift something.
Absolutely. And I think I just wanted to mention this when we were talking about Gemini energy, but this Gemini season, like, learn more about how to protect your online information.
That's
The
very
audit
like,
of that. Like, I'm in the process of figuring that out at the moment.
yeah.
Um, as a pretty, like, public person, I guess,
Mhm.
like, in the scheme of things, but like we do need to be conscious of what data is out there and what we can control, what we can't.
It's a huge topic.
Yeah.
I think going forward it would be nice to even talk about it, like
Yeah, absolutely.
openly, and share resources if we find, because I would like, it's funny, like 2 days ago I had this conversation about
Yeah.
protecting data.
And I'm glad that I brought it up right as we're about to talk about Mercury entering Gemini on the 25th. Let's see here. So Mercury moves into Gemini. It's happy here.
He's happy. He's at home. He's like, oh, I'm chilling with my body, the sun. Is
Hmm.
we are the strongest here. We're the like Jupiter is with us still. we're gonna rock that space. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I feel when I see that
Rock or
star.
wreck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I liked having Jupiter, Sun, and Mercury in the same sign, you know, and it just feel like Mercury is not going to be very long in Gemini, you know, but using that energy to kind of push the Sun, our vitality, our goals, you know, into what we want to do, especially what we want to express,
Mhm.
I think, or what we want to communicate is going to be helpful. The danger is to be too like going all over the place because we have Jupiter, sorry, that expand everything in there. But I think it's a great tool for everything you want to do, like public speaking, writing, later, content creating. I just thinking of all of that. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be rich. Your brain's gonna
Researching.
flow. Researching, like whatever, writing a book. If you're in process of writing a book or an essay or whatever, use that time. It's a great time to boost that communication style, writing style. Yes.
Hmm. And it's
Absolutely.
textile in Saturn. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not completely like Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit, it has some kind of Saturnian like influence grounding this Mercury in
Mm-hmm.
some kind of strategy or discipline, which is
Yeah.
very helpful. And Mercury is kind of in the rays of the sun here, it's within 8 degrees. So it is burned by the sun. So it's not thoroughly yet by like 10 days past that. It's really gonna become it way more strong, way stronger than it is in
Yeah.
the very beginning of this, and like in from May 25th, like probably like on June 7th or so, it's gonna have enough separation from the sun where it's um can think clearly.
Mm-hmm. Well, like it's being recharged by the sun. That's what I like when he's gonna have this conjunction with the sun, because there's a kind of a purge, you know.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
there's always and Saturn helps. I feel like Saturn, who has skills to be more structured and more organized and keep and cut everything that's superficial, can be helpful in the process, you know, of editing, for example. But yeah.
Well, it's on the lead up to this new moon in Gemini at
Mm-hmm.
6 degrees. Um,
Yeah, let's add more Gemini into all the
yeah,
Gemini.
exactly. So not only do we have kind of um, the sun, our consciousness, Mercury,
Mm-hmm.
the way we communicate it, and then we add the moon, our
Mm-hmm.
feelings,
Mm-hmm.
to the mix.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I think when I see this, I think there's an opportunity for a clarity that I feel. I tend to feel this clarity around the dark moon of like, oh, okay, I feel like empty enough that I know what I can take on, what I want to take on, what I need to let go of and leave behind. Um, and so just looking at this new moon in Gemini, I think there's a way that we can have maybe like a mental clearing moment and a reset that could be
Mhm.
potentially supportive. I mean, it is forming a trine to Pluto in Aquarius. So there is this like level of intensity that also comes, or it feels like gravity almost, that
Mhm.
comes with this new moon of like this starts the start of a new chapter, and there's a sense of like consequence to what comes next.
Mhm. So important. I feel like this Gemini season, like last 2 years, retrogrades in Leo. Sorry, I'm going back so far, but retrogrades in Leo, like Venus and Mars, and so much work in Pisces. And here it feels like you have to come into the realization of power and communicate that. you have to do certain, you have to make those shifts. The shift's probably already made by then, but this is
Mm-hmm.
sort of like pick it up, carry it, carry the message, no matter how scary carrying the message might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really great point. I think it reminds me of this saying, thoughts are things,
Mm-hmm.
which is a deeply magical way of thinking. And I do see at this new moon how powerful it could be to write some kind of manifesto or your own revolutionary letter, or um, even just I'm thinking about Octavia Butler's beautiful way of making those manifestation lists.
Mm-hmm.
Something that is you kind of affirming exactly what you want. Um, and also affirms your relationship to yourself as a powerful being uh, to
Mm-hmm.
make change.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we cannot deny that, like, we have a lot of air and fire. So there is something of what you just said, Casey, that that I think is helpful to manifest or to express something that is maybe ask us some courage or bravery around, or like more about some ways to find words or to put words on a situation that we might have a hard time to comprehend. But there's a lot of Aries, there's a lot of Gemini. There is something to make.
Mm-hmm.
There's air, fuel, fire. It's just like things are getting bigger. You know, I
Yeah,
feel.
100%. And one more thing that I want to say here, if there's something visionary that you hold, Pluto in Aquarius, that might not yet be in whatever, it's scary to communicate something. Communicate it. If you have a vision, communicate the vision. Seriously, like, may chips fall where they may, like, how do you say that? Let the chips fall where they may. It's just important that we learn how, especially with Uranus going into Gemini, to um, to try to put our thoughts and share them with not just ourselves, just to put it out there. Pluto in Aquarius is asking, it's an air Pluto. And when it makes harmonious aspects, it's going to keep making difficult and harmonious aspects. It's like, if there's anything visionary that you hold within, share it, work on it. Pluto will punish you if you suppress it, not if you share it. It's not to say it's gonna be easy, but whatever it is.
I
Yeah.
just sorry, I'm jumping on what you're saying now, Mariana. You we feed each other. I feel like, but like when you talked about the vision and you include Pluto into this new moon, obviously is doing a nice harmonious aspect to the new moon.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously we need to include it. When you talk about the vision, I couldn't stop also thinking about visual hope, but visual. Oh my God, sorry guys, I have so much hard time right now to express my what I'm feeling with
I'm with you
words.
on
You
this,
can use
Karima.
French if you want.
I wish, I wish. Yeah, so I wanted to say visualization. Okay, I said it.
Yes.
This is
Yeah.
what I wanted to say. And so, if you have a hard time to put word into it, as I think that exercise, visualization, and now we have
Mm-hmm.
so much scientific test and like review and like people have been testing that tool for so long that now we have actually result that is so helpful to create your reality. It is so helpful for many different aspects of your life. So I do think that new moon, that vision that we talk about, it can be for the collective on a personal level. I feel like for this new moon, having this exercise of just feeling what it will feel like if your vision is in the real life, how it actually feel in your body. It's a great exercise too. kind of express or understand what you want in life, you know?
Love it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm. And Pluto
Yeah.
is here to dig into that vision. What do you really want? Say it. Say
Yeah,
it.
a
Don't be
lot of
scared. You know, it's
auda-
like,
audacious energy. That's
yeah.
what it
Mhm.
is. It's very audacious month. You
Hmm.
gotta tap into that.
Yeah.
Just be unreasonable. Just
Yes.
allow
Yes.
yourself to be unreasonable. Like,
Hmm.
honestly, reason is overrated. Be unreasonable.
I love that.
Yes. We love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the final transit is when we had tapped into a little bit, but on the 29th, the sun will be conjunct Mercury. So this Mercury Cazimi
Hmm.
Hmm.
is on the 27th, 9th.
Yeah. And Marianne said it really nicely when basically when a planet it has around different astrologer has different view on that, but when it's around 8 degrees, basically burned, so it doesn't express
Mhm.
itself as like as well as it should be because the sun is taking the whole place and it's just literally burning that planet. But when there's a Kazimi, which is like a very close and right now exact degree at 8 degrees, this conjunction happen. But it's just it's like a really good purge. It's a really good purge. It's like a new setting. We talked about a new moon. For me, it's like a new moon. Sun conjunct Mercury, it's like a new moon. The moon is burning out, shedding everything that is unnecessary in that planet. And so I like this revival, you know, after this new moon, after this vision, after the work on the vision, after daring to wish what you really want, there's kind of like, oh, let's my put my brain on it, you know, let's have this purge. And so following this new moon, I think, is deeply necessary if we want to make change. We need to change if we want to make change, you know?
There's no better time to make a change when the world is collapsing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Truly,
Yeah.
it's either you if your nervous system can handle making the change, so
Mm-hmm.
prepare your
Right.
nervous system to making the change. No better time than now.
Really good note. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Time to shed the skins.
Mhm.
Well, an eventful start to Gemini season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of power to take advantage of. I love it. We're going to take Mariana's advice and act audaciously
Mhm.
Yes.
this season.
Yes,
Yes. I'm
I'm
super
gonna.
excited about that.
I'm taking my own advice here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
I'm gonna take it.
Okay. Well, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, Casey.
And we will be back, witches, listeners, with more on what's coming through this Gemini season. So thank you for tuning in. And of course, if you feel called, please share our episode with a friend, with your coven, and leave us a comment if you have any questions or anything you'd like to share.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Be
you.
well.
Bye bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Modern Witches podcast. We hope you've been inspired to cultivate your own magic and to craft your own spiritual practices. Let us know what sparked your curiosity by leaving us a comment on this episode or leave us a review. And don't forget to subscribe to the show so that you never miss an episode. Your feedback and engagement truly fills our cups. If you're looking for more ways to gather with your fellow witches, please support our work on Patreon. Learn more at modernwitches.org. Blessed be.